enjoy it with
hang out with the rest of us.
Yeah.
One of the things that these girls say that is so true, survival is not the way to happiness. And we are literally taught our entire lives that when you're in this religion, well, and a lot of high demand religion, your nervous system is consistently in fight or flight all the time. You never find your center because you're constantly walking on eggshells. You're constantly having a really hard, what are you doing? Oh,
come hang out with me.
Warming your...
Yep, around the fire.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, your comment about because we did that little TikTok about you and I sitting in front of the fire,
mm-hmm.
and he made a comment that said Corey and Mel have their own fireside chat.
Yep.
That's so true.
Show you what it looks like.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. I was sad when Mary's friends told her that Cody would someday regret it. I don't think that's true. I think eventually he will, not enough to ever have wanted to stay with these women, but eventually he will see what he's lost. I think most of these men do. When things calm down and their nervous system calms down and they start to regulate their emotions. Right now, everything, I mean, you're out of regulation. You have you're constantly in fight or flight, constantly living on eggshells, constantly, and then all of a sudden the world will calm down, and then you'll see the things that you're like, oh shit, I wish I hadn't done that. Cody and Robyn deserve each other. I think they do too. Somebody says suffering helps you get into heaven according to the way they believe. Exactly. We were literally taught, I remember hearing these words over and over in Sunday school, that you are constantly in the refiner's fire. And you are constantly being refined all the time. Thank you, Jamie. Yeah. And so if you're not, then you're not working hard enough.
If you're not suffering, if you're not doing it, if it's too easy, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
The easy path is wide. The hard path is straight and narrow.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, it's very true. And we're literally taught that.
Going back to all my fireside teachings. So.
Yeah, somebody says, oh my God, fireside chats. I haven't thought about those in forever. It's so true. It's so true. I'm trying to keep up with the conversations, or the text, but that happens. Wait, does that mean the fire is an eternal fireside? Yeah, you're going to learn all the things that you didn't pick up on the first one. So yeah, and I mean, I do feel the reverence that Mary's she's trying to give the respect for the 33-year marriage. But she's the only one trying to respect the marriage. Cody doesn't care. He doesn't want to give her any respect for it. But I just think, I love how, Andrea, you can tell that these girls have gone to therapy and gotten tools for their tool bag of how to handle emotional crap. Mm-hmm. Because Andrea even says that. She's like, they don't have the tools to be able to make their families work because they've never learned them. And it's true. We were not encouraged to do therapy. We were not encouraged to go get any sort of outside help. You either got a blessing from the priesthood. If that didn't correct your ways, you didn't read the scriptures, and so you need to read the scriptures more. And then, or you need to go and be of service to somebody else. So those were like the three main things when you're struggling emotionally that I was taught. Those are the things that you need to do to heal yourself. Corey's smirking about something again.
Well, he just said that if suffering was the way to get to heaven, then his co-workers are going to get him there. I agree that every kid that grew up in polygamy and did all that suffering for the first 18 years of their life, they should, I mean, I'm not God, so I'm not claiming to be God, but I'd let him in.
Yeah.
It was miserable.
Yeah. One of the things too that Hillary says that I absolutely loved is, I'd love to see you get to the point where you say, that you stop saying I would have stayed in that marriage. Yeah. I would have made it work. Because you can't be a one-man show all the time. Like, it has to be a mutual level of respect. And so I love that these girls are like so honest with her. But that's the truth of it. It really is. You cannot, like, hopefully Mary gets to that point where she is not referring to, I would have stayed in the marriage. I would have stayed in the relationship. Cody's the one who threw it away. And so, let's see. Is Cody only with Robyn now? Yep, only with Robyn. So she's the only wife. We were sent here to be tested. I agree with that, but we were not sent here to be miserable. all of our life 24/7.
Learn.
We're all tested, and we're all tested as if we're single, if we're in monogamy, whatever. We all go through tests, and I totally agree with that.
But we can be happy. We're tested with all of it, and when you're happy or when you have bliss, you don't. That's not a negative thing. We're all going through all of the emotions and seeking happiness, seeking companionship, seeking all of these good things, and yet you achieve that and you're not doing it right. You should be more miserable. You should. No.
Yeah.
We're all going to be tested, but we're seeking something better than just being miserable all the time. That's not a way to live.
Yeah.
Being anxious, being on eggshells all the time, no, that's not a good healthy way to live. So,
and I agree, the way Cody treats his kids is despicable. How can Robyn stay with him? I absolutely agree with you. I would not. For me, that'd be a deal breaker. For Janelle, it was a deal breaker, but for Robyn, her kids are not treated that way, so it's here nor there for her. Yet, and she doesn't care. So that's the sad part about the personality types like Robyn, is it's just what's in it for me and what's in it for my children. That's the only thing that matters. And she doesn't see the needs outside of her own needs or her own children's needs. And as long as those are being met, she doesn't really care about anybody else or anything else. And unfortunately, we know a ton of women in polygamy who have that same attitude. They don't care as long as their needs are being met. Thanks for validating my smart assery, Corey. He doesn't have respect for any of the wives. Well,
TLC's
and I think
time.
You what?
She's still on TLC time.
Oh shoot, am I way far behind?
No, it's good.
Okay, Diane says, why would God want his children to be miserable, kind, charitable? Yes, I know, it makes no sense to me. I 100% agree with you that it makes no sense. My guess by now is that Mary is very happy and realizes how toxic things were.
She's awake.
I think she is too at this point. Oh.
She's awake to his behavior now.
Yeah.
So.
And it takes really removing yourself from that environment to be able to see it. It when it's this close into your face, you can't see it. And so it's tragic and sad, and I'm sad for her that that's kind of where she found herself. But I think taking a good step back, I knew I was in an abusive relationship with my ex-husband. I knew it, but I didn't know how abusive it was until I took a step back. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I would never allow my children to be treated like I sat and tolerated for years because I thought that I needed to. Yeah. Let's see,
That's the trick there. We have been trying to, wait a minute, we're comparing how we would we've raised our children, what we would want for our children. We became parents, and I was like, oh, I want everything for my kids. I want them to be happy. Dang it. And then we're looking back at our childhood going, guess our parents...
Did they want us to be happy?
They were frustrated a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
But to be honest, I have empathy for them too, because I have 5 kids, and they had 39 kids in the same house. I don't know how they did it. So
yeah.
I don't.
So yeah, somebody says, same, you're only depressed because you weren't reading the scriptures enough.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I was told that. Or I'm sick. I'm physically sick because I wasn't doing, I wasn't being of service to other people, or I wasn't, I didn't take the blessing that I got from my priesthood authority well enough. How does the church tithe come into play of suffering? Are you paying as a member and then tie you eternally? I was always taught, and is that you pay your tithing first, even if you can't afford to feed your family. You pay your tithing first, and then God will provide the difference. That's what I was always taught. Corey was like, you pay your 20% tithing first, and then God will make up the difference.
10% tithing, 10% surplus.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's what I was always taught. Somebody says, I worry for Robyn's girls. They're adults asking permission to go to church. Yeah. Corey has a lot more to say about that, but he can't swear. No, I'm just kidding. I swear the whole time. So
it's interesting to watch the conversations between Janelle and her kids, between Christine and her kids. And I don't know if if it was different, I do need to look back in previous seasons if it was different. But they tend to have open communication. They're listening to their kids. They're communicating with their kids. And when Robyn's talking to her girls, the girls are asking in a roundabout way, because if they were direct and honest with their mom, I don't think it would go over well. And the minute Robyn started talking, I'm like, pack your bags, girls, you're going on a guilt trip. She's going to guilt trip you into, or change the subject, or guide them. Well, I'd like to go to church to meet guys, get a boyfriend or girlfriends to hang out with, because she's such a controlling, emotionally controlled. So that's one of her personalities, but emotionally controlling of these girls, and until these girls grow up and start to communicate with other people outside of, that's why they're still living in the house. That's why they're still doing it. She's got such a control on them, and they need to get out and start communicating with other people and learning how to honestly communicate with each other, to realize how manipulative their mother is in the conversation. Even that conversation, I was just like, oh my gosh, listen to what your kids are actually saying. Listen what they're
and it's very scripted, though. You can tell that it's scripted, like they've had that conversation before, and now they're just trying to catch it on camera. And so but they all look so sad. Like, there's no life in their face. There's no... Brianna probably has... Or not Brianna. Who's the older one? Aurora probably has the most liveliness in her face with this conversation. So it's a very hard conversation to watch, because, these poor girls are in their 20s. One of the ways that little subtle things that Robyn says is that takes a stab at maybe some of the other wives, and this might be petty to some, but this is what they do. Is she goes, my girls have very high morals. Basically, like, I've raised my girls to have very high standards and very high morals, so they want to date men who are similar to that. That felt like a stab at some of the other mothers. And then Robyn does answer the question, as she was born in the AUB. She was born. I wasn't sure if she had come in early when she was younger, but she was born in the AUB. And then there's a picture of her that she looks exactly like a polygamous kid. So she went to the same school that Corey went to growing up. Corey was homeschooled for half his life and then went to the academy, the local school
we
there.
went to the academy for the first through 8th grade. They had a local school on the priesthood property called Pines Academy.
Yeah, the city was called Pinesdale, and then the school is called Pines Academy.
And then after 8th grade, most of the kids went down to high school down at the public high school, but we were then homeschooled for our high school years. So so it looks like Robyn did attend that school. She talks about it right there on this episode too, that she did attend that school. A lot of them did. In fact, we have quite a few viewers on here that comment to us all the time, and they went to that school as well. We get a lot of AUB, I think current and previous, that used to be in the AUB that come and watch our videos. And they have all, a lot of them have gone to Pines Academy. There is a church locally here in Salt Lake that the Browns sent their kids to before they moved to Vegas. And so I used to actually teach at that school. That's where I knew Mary's mom really well. She was the principal of the school. And so that's where I had, an endearment towards Mary's mom, because she kind of took me under her wing and helped me learn how to, get my homeschooling degree, I guess, if you would say. But yeah, the look on these girls' face, like, this is a very serious conversation, but it's like they've already had this conversation and now they're just trying to replay it for the cameras. Go ahead. Well, and the interesting thing here too is she talks about Cody. We're going to go scout out some other churches, stuff like that. What they didn't say, what I guarantee is going to be said, because then she also says if they wanted to live polygamy, I would absolutely support them. But if they don't, then I'll support them too. She's going to those churches to point out probably the flaws in their teachings and their beliefs that they have. And so there's going to be a battle on which beliefs these girls are going to have to fulfill or have to believe in that. So there's, I guarantee there's some behind the scenes too of her going to the churches and then pointing out,
which feels weird to me.
Probably trying to guide them back to the AUB.
Like, so. It's almost like they're going to these churches not to find their own way, but to find the way that mom stamps an approval on and says, this will work, or no, that won't work. And I don't know. I think it's interesting that Robyn says one thing. Again, Robyn's words are not in alignment with what she's doing. But she says, she says that she wants them to go and find their own way. Well, they are not finding their own way. They're going to a church and hoping Robyn approves of that church.
And in this conversation, do you think about polygamy? The oldest one's like, no, I'm not. I don't think I'll live polygamy. It's not my way. Your dad. And the other one was like, I don't know, but him hawing around, but her ultimate was like, no. And Robyn didn't hear either one of those. Well, if they wanted to live it, I'd approve of that. And if they didn't, I guess I'd approve of that too.
Right.
So
right.
The emphasis on them living it is, I feel like, is stronger than them not living it. And so,
well, and we as children, we always hear that like disapproval in our parents' voices when they talk to us. And so I'm sure that those girls are getting some of that disapproval. And then Cody comes on and says, are any of my kids going to live polygamy? If any one of them does, it's possibly my daughters. It's not common, especially when these kids watch how this family fell apart. Mm-hmm. It's not common for these kids to stay in polygamy. Out of 34 of my siblings, only 5 of them go to church, and only I think 4 of them are active polygamists, and 1 or 2 maybe go to church here and there, and that's it. Out of 34 of us, no one else wants to live that way. It's miserable, and you're watching your parents be miserable, and these kids got a stupid amount of exposure to how polygamy doesn't work because it's all over national television. And so why would they want to live that way? Why would their parents did not do a good job of showing them what this religion is about? Or, well, they did. They actually did do a good job of showing them because they showed them how it didn't work. What were you going to say?
Nothing. I'm just reading along. So Robyn and her first husband weren't living polygamy, a life where they... No. And Robyn... I'm going to be controversial. The 3 older women lived polygamy. They had to live together. They had to communicate. Robyn did it for show. She's been monogamous, I feel.
Well, she never wanted to live in the big house.
She claimed she did. We want a big house on the property. We want this. This is all the claims. She's heartbroken. Her shy side is heartbroken that it didn't happen. But when they were all living in the house, she wasn't going to live upstairs with Mary. So
she didn't want her kids. Yeah, she didn't want the other wives watching her kids. She didn't. I mean, there was no real. She never really tried to connect herself to the family. Mm-hmm. And that's funny. We both use the same word, connect, because it's true. She never tried to connect herself to the family or to the other sister wives.
She connected. I feel like a little bit to Mary because I felt like. That she felt like she was in control of that relationship. The other 2, she had zero control. They were not going to let there be control. Yeah. So they didn't care if she spoke Cody or not. So.
And somebody says, would the AUB let Cody come back to the church? I mean, I think they're always open to letting people do things, but it would, money-wise, if he's got money. But it really would take, he would have to go through a long process of showing. He'd be disfellowshipped, first of all. A lot of people don't know. I don't believe he's been excommunicated. He just left the church. So if he did try to go back, he would be what's called disfellowshipped. And then he would have to go through approving your worth, for a couple of years. Corey had to go through one of those himself, so he knows what it's like. But you have to go through this proving your worth, proving your value, paying your tithing, doing all of these things, all of the hoops that they want you to jump through in order to come back. And then there's no guarantee that they'll let you. I mean, I don't know. How many years did you jump through all the hoops to try to go back?
Oh, I didn't. Yeah,
A long time.
9 months.
A year?
9 months to a year. So
I thought it was at least a year because you followed everything for at least a year.
Because I was living on their property.
Right.
So.
And then they still said, nope, get out. We don't want you back.
And then I'm like, I'm exhausted of this. I'm leaving. And they're like, no, you're booted out. And don't come back. And I'm like, okay.
I won't. Okay, somebody says, what about the Buddha stuff? Is that their religion? No, they're into Christianity. So polygamy is a form of Christianity, which is more Mormonism, Christianity.
The older daughter might be.
Well, she took the Buddhist class.
Oh, okay.
But she's not, but she wants to find more about Buddhism. So, Robyn's words and actions never match. I saw that since first season. No, they didn't. They really never have. Somebody says Robyn never hears anyone. I think that's what's so crazy to me is that these people say these things and then she gets on her couch interview and acts like she never heard any of it. And I think she maybe really truly didn't hear it. So no. Oh, thank you for that gift. I think it's Tanya. I read that Christine was excommunicated, but is that true? Why her and not Cody? I don't think that's true.
Yeah,
I don't know where that was printed or who said that, but I don't think that's true. But I don't know for sure. Yeah. I just don't think it is. So I think that
I don't know if they even know where to send an excommunication letter. So
yeah.
I don't think she's connected enough for them to even do that. But
yeah,
I heard from a very good source that corporations don't excommunicate people.
Yeah.
So.
They no longer hold a church status with the government. They are now a corporation. And so they don't excommunicate. So let's see. So this conversation with the girls is still going on, even while we were sitting here chatting. So it's been a very long conversation. Did you see the TikTok about Robyn's backyard, the Las Vegas home being the only one finished, only hers? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, she budgeted her money different than the other women did. So,
she was so
that's
much
all.
better at budgeting.
Yeah. And so I think it's interesting. A lot of people, Cody makes a point in this conversation to say, Robyn's going to go check out these new churches with the girls, with or without me. And I think it's interesting that Cody's so angry with the leadership of the AUB. Obviously, there's something happening in the background that we have not been privy to, that they haven't posted or edited into the show, because he's super angry with the AUB leadership.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, again, I'm just going with my gut feeling. I think he's frustrated all the way around about religion.
Yeah.
So, organized religion.
I would agree with that.
Probably
Yeah. Let's see. Do the Mormons not believe in the Trinity? They do believe in the Trinity. Yeah. Let's see. I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, they do.
I said that they do believe in the Trinity.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's the same. Is it the same in the Christian or Catholic Church?
I believe so. The God, the Father, Jesus Christ, and then the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit is what I believe. Yeah.
If that's what they believe, yeah.
Yeah. So we skipped over a lot of Christine's wedding stuff. It just felt a lot of. It was sweet.
Cute. We're excited for her.
Yeah.
So
it was sweet, and there's a lot going on there. I think that it's awesome that his family will, so willingly participate and be a part of her wedding.
And I appreciate, I appreciate the conversations. I appreciate her girls can be honest with her and stuff like that. And then I saw a completely different conversation with Shy Wife and her kids. So
yeah,
Maverick here.
The honest conversations are totally different between Robyn and her girls and Christine and her girls. Mm-hmm. Christine is allowing her children to be who they want to be, not who she dictates for them to be. Same with Janelle and Mary. That's what it feels like to me, is at least where the conversations are different with Robyn and her girls.
Those mothers allow their kids to have, so the kids feel comfortable making fun of them, doing stuff like that. I don't think Robyn's kids feel comfortable or feel, using her words, feel safe.
Yeah.
To be able to be smart aleck with either of those two.
Yeah, it's true. Diane says Cody's mad he doesn't get credit for having lied and deceived his wives for 25 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You would not believe the amount of lies and deception these men will do.
He is. He's so butt wounded because, he was, you helped, I guess, build, but the core, the people who actually manage that family are still managing that family. And yes, you are on the outs with your new shy favorite wife and her kids. So those kids, those wives don't care to have you around. Why don't you and Robyn throw a party and see if the kids come? They're not, because of the way you've treated those other kids. So sorry, buddy.
Right.
But they're going to continue those traditions, those get-togethers, those great family connections without you, because you have eliminated yourself. They haven't eliminated you. You eliminated yourself.
And that's the part that blows my mind that him and Robyn cannot see. Somebody said he's mad because they validated that he abandoned and refused to grant him more wives. And I think that's very true. The word, honestly, we talked about this in a couple of other episodes, that murder is the worst sin, adultery is next, and abandonment would be probably number 3. And so for him to be accused of abandoning her is huge. That's one of the worst things that could possibly happen to him in this situation.
That was the other knife in the kidney.
Yeah.